Hi there, everybody. Are you thinking to come here in the Philippines and settle down? Stop what you're doing and pack your luggage. Philippines is not for everybody. Think again. Today, we are going to reveal 8 reasons why you should not retire here in the Philippines. Welcome back, everyone, to our channel, Fly Me to the Philippines.
Welcome back. We've been telling you how great the Philippines is. Today, we're going to tell you 8 reasons
why you should not retire here in the Philippines.
Like Chrissy said, hold on, packing your luggage. Wait till you hear us out. And we're going to give you a bonus reason that you may not have thought about that is kind of important. That you may not be happy in the Philippines if this is your issue. So stick around for that. Chrissy, we were at the driving range this morning.
You know, I'm a little bit still sweaty.
There was some serious eye candy going on. Check this out, fellas. Chrissy, you're getting pretty good. You've played on a real course, and the driving range here at Pueblo de Oro is right across the street from CJ School. We drop them off at 8 a.m. and boom, we're at the driving range in like a minute.
Yeah, I don't think I can still hit some balls.
You first.
Then I would say...
Oh, I get to go first. What?
I would say you might sometimes treat me like a very special person, but...
Sometimes?
No, in other vlogs.
All the time? Oh, in other vlogs.
Okay, I get it again.
Okay.
But Rob,
yes.
Most of the time, you treated me like a very special person, and you tell them how lucky you are. You found me.
You're
and
the lucky one. I'm special. Whoa, look at this. Drunk driving. Come on. You got a license to drive that stool? Look, I've told everybody I'm the prize.
Yeah, you're the prize. But
it's hard to believe, but
yeah,
it's true.
But you're also telling them that you're lucky to find me, to find me.
It took a degree of luck, yes. Because you're extraordinary.
Yes.
Even though I'm the prize.
Yeah, they were thinking that, like, you're thinking, like, I'm the best Filipina. And
people think I'm so conceited when I say that. But it's true.
Yeah.
It's the Philippines, and there's an abundant supply of amazing Filipinas, and we are the prize. We have resources and we have experience, and we're willing to take risk and break out of our box in the West and come here and live a new life. And we are extraordinary in that degree. But obviously, everybody with eyeballs can tell that Chrissy is extraordinary also.
But I would say Philippines is just like its people, the Filipino and the Filipina. There's great in them and there's also negative.
All right, we're going to get to the problems?
Thing in them.
Are we going to get to the problems?
I'm just trying to let them realize.
You're worried you're going to get bashed by your fellow countrymen.
It's okay.
Let me start.
It's your opinion that matters.
Here we go. There's a little bit of a delay happening here. Noise pollution. Well, we've talked about this in some of our videos. We've made entire videos about this.
What's noise pollution?
Oh my God, the Philippines is crazy noisy. And like, I'm one of those people. I'm surviving here. We had to move next to a cemetery, pay a little bit more money. And, you know, the rumor is there's a rooster that's kind of moved a little bit close to us. Yeah. But you can have insane levels of noise. What do you think about the noise in the Philippines? You don't even notice it.
Because I grew up with the noise.
Yeah. But if it's like, I'm telling you, if it's not something you can overcome. And for me, I had to move a few times until I could find peace and quiet. And I avoid the extreme noise. I don't care for it. So if that's who you are and you're extremely temperamental when it comes to noise, you may have to put some effort in to solve that.
Yeah. Okay. If you're not ready for the noise pollution, then I think you should think twice in coming here in the Philippines. And you want to ask a Filipina, your button is open.
Thank you. Too much curry. Too much Thai curry.
And you know, as a Filipina, we don't notice the noise until our partner will tell us that the noise is very serious already. Yeah. That's the time we will only notice, okay, the noise is very, very bad.
Okay, what do you got?
Next, okay.
What you got?
You can't expect from my opinion because this is my country. It should be from you.
Okay.
Weather.
It
includes typhoon and natural disasters.
We just talked about disasters. We got flooding, earthquakes, typhoons, and volcanoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then every day, there's 2 seasons, rainy season and summer. And May and April were really hot, much hotter. We had to turn on the air conditioner here at our elevation. But, you know, when I came to the Philippines, one of the 2 things I had top of mind was I was going to have to learn to deal with the stinky, hot, humid weather. And we learned that you can get some elevation and deal with it that way. But anytime you're down by sea level or in a city with a lot of buildings blocking the breeze, it can be really oppressive heat and humidity. And, there are people who think they want to live at the beach, but then after a year or two, they realize they're just drying up like a raisin, and it's not good for their health. They're aging rapidly. And then other people, the humidity is really oppressive, and the cost of electricity, the air condition can be a problem. So it's, it's a 4-shower-a-day country sometimes. It's like Thailand, 4 showers a day.
So if you're ready to sweat, then come here in the Philippines and retire. But if you're not...
Yeah, you can, like right now we have a breeze. You can see the trees behind us in the canyon. And we actually have a breeze right here right now. When the rainy season starts, the humidity is a little excessive. When the early summer starts, it's, I think, the best time of year, which is like late November, December, January is maybe the best. It's dry, but not excessively hot. Yeah. Drier. It's always humid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. The winner is, if you are cash poor, a gambler, and you're going to go with no medical insurance. So, there's a minimum amount of cash. Somebody just asked me, Chrissy, are you still here?
Yeah.
Did you go someplace did you take a jet plane? What happened? So if you, how much cash is the least amount of cash? I think, you could come with $10,000 or a credit card that has, $10,000 to $20,000 of room on it, and you could be okay. It's enough money to get home if there's an emergency. It's enough money to pay for a heart attack with a credit card. But if you're a gambler and you don't have a lot of cash and you're going to have no medical insurance, now you could be in a world of hurt, and they won't take care of you, and you're unconscious, and you don't have a credit card with that kind of room on it that anybody else that has access to. So if you're the type of person you just can't afford medical insurance, and you don't have any cash reserves, and you don't have a good friend who can stand in for you if you're not, if you don't have your faculties, I don't think it's a safe bet to come. I pay for a peso plan, which is about $90 a month, and that'll reimburse me up to $17,000 but I got to come up with the cash up front.
Yeah.
Right. There's another plan they just introduced for $35,000, which will cover you in advance at certified facility. So I'm going to switch to that one. It's going to cost me like $120 a month, though.
I think if you want to retire here in the Philippines, you should still be money-wise and do not get overwhelmed by the prices. Like, you will think that everything here is so inexpensive, and then you're just going to spend your money everywhere in here.
And that's another part of cash. Some people come and they don't have their pension yet. They're 59, they're 58, they're 60, and they got to make it until that pension kicks in at like 62 in 4 months.
Yes.
And they buy a house for their Filipino, or they show off with the girls and they drink too much or whatever, and they run out of cash. And, the next thing you know, they realize there's not a lot of jobs, or there's really no jobs that you can earn money here.
Yeah, I don't really think that foreigners can find job here. No. And if you're gonna build some business, I don't think it will do well.
And you can't own the whole business.
You will just get discouraged also of the money that will come in, because it's
nobody's making money with
big.
sorry stores and water stations with their girlfriends. Yeah.
Next, are we done with the money?
Yeah, we're done with the money.
I like to talk about cash. If you have bad habits.
Yeah, if you are susceptible to alcohol abuse, gambling abuse, drug abuse, this is the wrong place. We were in some store the other day, and you could buy a bottle of tequila for like $2.50. I mean, it was just stupid cheap. So if you like to drink, and, a lot of people, they show up in Thailand and they show up here in the Philippines, and they like to belly up to the bar, and beers are only $1.50 or $1, and they just can't control themselves. And just because it's cheap doesn't mean you can't blow your budget.
So if they have bad habits here in the Philippines, they can abuse it because
if they have bad habits at home,
inexpensive.
They're going to bring those habits here. So if you are somebody who can't control your habits at home, or if you overeat, if you overeat at home also, you'll overeat here. Food is going to be a lot less expensive and full of sugar. And so, yeah, whatever your bad habits are, it's likely you'll bring them here with you. And this is the wrong place to retire if you've got a drinking problem or a drug problem.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your bad habit?
Well, I used to have a bad habit, but I haven't engaged in it in the last 10 years.
Oh,
and
curious what's that
it's
is.
now legal in most of America. I'll just say that. There you go.
Next, here.
Yes. Okay. In Thailand too now. If you have a medical condition that requires mobility, if you have mobility issues, the sidewalks here, the ability to get good medical care, you know, you're going to have some issues. And so if you've got a type of a severe medical problem, the Philippines can have decent medical resources in the big cities. And if you're able to travel there for regular checkups, you could be okay. But if you need to, you know, then we have ramps in our subdivision for handicap, but I just think that if you've got really severe medical conditions and you're managing a disease, this may not be the right country for you. A lot of times the heat and humidity can put a lot of stress on a person's system too.
Yeah. Have you heard from other expats talking about the medical or hospital facilities in the Philippines?
Well, I have. One of our subscribers just wrote in, a new subscriber, and he was talking about he ended up in a hospital here in CDO for 10 days. He was unconscious, and he woke up. He had no clue how he got there. His father was a physician in Australia and kind of intervened. But he thought, you know, you could be in a world of hurt here in the Philippines. He ended up he couldn't get out of the hospital, but he ended up negotiating his bill and paid half what they asked. And he finally got out of the hospital. Yeah, you know, you know, but we've heard stories where our friend Ivan had a complete knee replacement for $5,000 US, but you still got to have the $5,000 or you're going to have to limp on an airplane and charge your ticket back home. And then when you get back home, if you don't have family who can put you up, where are you going to stay? It could be very expensive even to utilize your medical insurance in the West. So, yeah,
there are decent hospitals, especially in the big cities, but I would say not really the best compared to other countries.
Well, you know, other countries, like we've talked about this before, Filipinos, English, and a 3-year tourist visa access. It really sets the Philippines apart. Thailand has better food, better hospitals, better infrastructure, things that we'll talk about.
Yeah. Next is poor service.
Poor service.
So you will need a lot of patience and you should limit your complaints.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that it's like the humidity. It took me 2 or 3 weeks to get used to the humidity. I came from the desert. It was a dry heat. But after 2 or 3 weeks, I did get used to it. And we sit around with the windows open and we use fans. But the service level is remarkably inconsistent, is a polite way to say it. And what they have this curious habit of, they repeat back to you whatever you say to them. So they write it down and then they say, well, you've ordered the double cheeseburger, hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, you know, whatever. And then they bring you something completely different. And the fact that they repeat it back to you, it kind of makes your brain explode when it comes wrong, because they took the time and wasted your time to repeat back to you and make you listen to what you said to them. And usually they repeat it back correctly, but when they bring the order, it comes wrong, like half the time in my first 2 weeks. And you know, we were at a grocery store yesterday and the line to check out was so long, we just left after we waited 5 minutes. And now I have a lot of patience. So patience is the virtue that you need to be able to develop. And there are some expats here, they just can't deal with the drivers, they can't deal with the lines, they can't deal with the service. And they're always complaining. They're always complaining and want to tell you stories about the bad service they got. And your Filipina is going to wear thin. I mean, you can't handle too much of it, can you?
Yeah, I can't handle too much of complaints because we didn't grow up like that. Like, you know, you're just gonna complain all the time. That's why here in the Philippines, one of our core values here is to be patient. And the other thing is humility and kindness. Yeah. And I understood why.
We were in Baguio and we needed a taxi. at the mall, and they had 2 lines, and they have senior lines everywhere. That's good if you're retired. So we got to stand in the senior line, and it was half the length of the regular line. It was 45 to 50 minutes before a taxi came for the senior line. If you were in the other line, you might have waited 2 hours to get a taxi. And everybody's just sitting there as calm as can be in a 2-hour line. Nobody's, And after being in the Philippines as long as I have, I was very fine. It was fine with it. It's just the Philippines. You wait for everything. And when you don't, you're like so happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got? Nice little drawing you got there.
Yeah.
Food. Look, there's a Chinese restaurant in every small town on the planet. There's a Thai restaurant in every town with over 5,000 people, I think, has a Thai restaurant. You will be hard pressed to find a Philippine restaurant anywhere but the Philippines. And the food is unique. Quite often the food gets left out, like at birthday parties. It gets put out at noon, and at 7 p.m., people are still eating from the table. It's just sat there in the 90-degree heat all day, and the flies. And so it's a challenge, and it's full of sugar, fats and sugar. And they don't eat much vegetables, really. I don't think you guys eat a lot. You don't eat salads very much. And
we don't eat like raw vegetables.
Fruits,
that much.
A lot of fruit. Yeah. Amazing fruit.
Yeah, fruits and cooked vegetables.
Cooked vegetables.
Yeah.
But the selection of food is challenging. Now, we've worked around it with lechon manok, which is rotisserie chicken, and there is a Costco in our town we can shop at, and I'm pretty happy with my food choices, and I need to lose a few pounds.
Yeah.
But the average expat is going to be a little bit, and if you are susceptible to gaining weight, well, one of 2 things happens. Either guys lose a lot of weight from the humidity and the heat and the lack of good food choices, or they gain a lot of weight. And you could find yourself, everything has sugar. The ketchup has twice as much sugar as at home. But every dish is full of sugar or fruit. Yeah. So I think it's and if you go to Thailand, you have amazing food choices. Not all of them are fattening. You just don't really get the amount of choices here. But if you go to the wet markets, you can work your way around it. But if that's a big issue for you, if you are just, you may have a challenge with the food.
Yeah, I would say our food here, our dishes are multicultural. You're gonna have one dish, a Filipino dish, it will taste a little bit of Chinese, Western, Mexican, and there's a lot there. And most of it are like influenced by those people who have ruled the Philippines before, right? But there's still a lot of foreigners. I observed that they already eat these Filipino foods. But if you're really, really strict on your diet, you can't find a lot of foods.
You might have to pay a premium, like for good cheese or good nuts or good thing. I mean, we have friends that went back home to America. What's the first thing you ate when you went home? Cheeseburger, New York style pizza. There's just some things you're not going to get here.
The good thing is you can make your own food here.
Yeah, you can
buy from.
But if that is like your world, you're going to be challenged in the food department. Okay, my turn. What do we got here? Infrastructure. Somebody was just telling me yesterday at the cards that annually the Philippines only spends $104 per year per citizen on infrastructure. And it was like a third of Indonesia, which was the second least Asian country on infrastructure. So the infrastructure in the Philippines is really a challenge. The roads, the spaghetti wires, the consistency of electrical service. If you go into some area of the Philippines to be near your Filipinos family, you might find you have brownouts and you have other electrical issues. Now you can do generators.
Water issues
you can have, and traffic can be a real problem. Like we have these private schools near where we live, really good private schools, but there's certain hours of the day, it's like, oh man, it's like brutal trying to get past those private. And since we're retired, I'm retired. You're not really retired, are you?
I'm working.
Yeah, so working at YouTube. So we can choose when to go out most of the time and not be in those school pickup lines. But it can be pretty brutal, the infrastructure or lack thereof. They are building a new airport road that'll get us about 30 minutes. Right now it's an hour to get to the airport. We have to drive through town in traffic, but they're building a new access road, so it should cut 30 minutes off that drive. The driving conditions are quite hazardous. At night, people are driving without their lights on. There's drunk people on the side of the road. There's dogs and chickens. It is like crazy. The level of attention you have to pay. You can do it, but you just can't look away from the road for an instant. You have to drive carefully at all times. And just, lighting, electricity, internet. The internet's pretty reliable. It's the electricity that's not that reliable. Yeah. No, for us, we found good, reliable electric.
Yeah, luckily, we found this place, which is just minimal electricity interruption.
Yeah,
right?
minimal. Yeah. So those are some significant reasons that you, and just to say, in Asia, Vietnam's probably 15% cheaper. Thailand's 15% cheaper. Housing, hotels are a little bit cheaper there. Food choices are more interesting. So if it wasn't for the Filipinos.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking, that there's only one reason that can break all those other reasons.
Well, the English helps. Like one of the other things, if I'll just add as a bonus, if you don't like hearing other people talk in a foreign language, it can be very unsettling when you're dating a pretty young woman and all of a sudden she's talking to people in another language, she's talking to her girlfriends and they're giggling, and if that unsettles you, well, you better learn the language, because even in the Philippines, you will hear your family members and your Filipina, they will spend a lot of time talking in the local dialect. And we have a 5-year-old now in the house, and I'm starting to learn quite a bit of Visayan. Yeah,
I think he's learning English and you're learning
I know how to say keep quiet.
Yeah. Very important phrase.
Yeah, the noise pollution is now starting in the house. Yeah. So now we promised people a real bonus, which is there's one other reason that you might not want to be retiring in the Philippines, and I think that if you don't enjoy family, if you want to just be alone with your Filipina and lock the world to her family and your neighbors and not interact with other people, I don't think this is the right country for you.
Because Filipinos are family-oriented. We are very, tight in our relationship with our family. We may live farther away, but there will be really times in a year that we will get together. And if you don't like that idea of a family gathering, the noise from the other family members, you could get into trouble and you can have, hardship.
Yeah, and I think if you are alienated from your Filipino, now we always say you don't really want to live next door because you won't be able to keep the refrigerator full. But somewhere about an hour away, hour and a half away is probably ideal, because they'll jump on their motorcycles and go home after dinner, and you'll get to see them often enough. But I love your family members. Some of them I wish were closer and we could see more of them. We have your father living in the house with his significant other, and he is like the greatest guy ever, and I love having him around. And if you're the kind of person where you don't like seeing your girlfriend's family, you see them through the wrong lenses, or you pick the wrong girlfriend and her family is needy and wanting and needing money from you all the time, that's going to be a problem. So you have to have a good, healthy attitude about your girlfriend's family. You have to enjoy them, make the most of it. You don't always have to eat the food they make, right? But you do also need to be careful of the girlfriend you pick, and that her family members are working and they're not abusing drugs or alcohol, things like that. So because you're going to have a family interaction, and it can be awesome, like the one we've had so far, but it could be problematic, as we've heard from some other expats. Yeah,
I've read 5 funny comments from our viewers, and they said if you want to meet a Filipina, try to find a Filipina that is from the orphanage. They don't have parents. That's what they said. Well, it's funny, but...
that's because there's a financial component.
Yes.
You're always going to send money to your family.
Yeah.
Always. And if you think you can convince your Filipina, she might for a short period suspend, but she's going to start again.
Yeah. Just don't feel obligated to support. I think that's the tip there. Right. Because if you will feel obligated, you will feel guilty if you don't give, then you should be careful with that kind of, kindness that you're going to give to the family. Now, before we're going to end this, I would say Philippines is a great place if you're going to look in the positive side of it.
Yeah. We hope to see you here. Till next time.
Only here from Fly Me to the Philippines.